Section 1. You will hear a student inquiring about joining university sports and activities. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 7. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 7.
Good afternoon. I'm looking to register for some university sports or clubs this term. Could you help me with the options available?
Of course. Let me give you a list of some of the popular ones. First, we have tennis, which is quite popular. The entry fee for tennis is £25, and we can allow up to 45 participants in the group.
That sounds good. What else is there?
There's also mountain biking. It's slightly cheaper, just £18, but we only take 20 participants for safety reasons.
Interesting. How about indoor options?
You could consider the chess club, more relaxed and indoors. That one costs £35 to join and allows a maximum of 50 members.
That's a bit expensive. Is there anything more budget-friendly?
Yes, we also offer creative writing sessions for only £8. It's great for expression, and we can fit about 65 participants into the program.
Actually, I'm registering on behalf of my friend, Sarah. She wants to know if she could join multiple hobby groups.
Certainly, as long as there's no timing clash. What does she enjoy?
Let's see, she's not into sports, but she does enjoy gardening, painting, and pottery making, all the creative types.
Perfect. All those are available. She'll just need to register early as they fill up quickly.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 8 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 8 to 10.
Alright, I'll pass that on. Now, for my own form, it's Michael Anderson, I'm 22.
Got it. Can I take your address?
Sure, it's 43, Grantham Street, Brighton Road, London SE15.
And your phone number?
It's 07789654321.
Great. And I already have your email from the registration.
Section 2. You will hear a library coordinator giving information to new volunteers. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Welcome everyone, and thank you for signing up to volunteer at the City Library. Let me begin with some general information regarding your weekly schedule and requirements. On Tuesdays, we open the volunteer shift slightly later to accommodate restocking, so we'll need you to arrive no later than 9:15 a.m., and you'll wrap up your duties by 5:15 p.m. That gives us a full working day with time for breaks, of course. Now, while working, especially when you're involved in book sorting activities, it's important to maintain a professional yet safe appearance. We don't have strict uniform codes, but you must wear a name badge with your photo at all times so visitors and staff can identify you easily. In case you're feeling unwell or have an emergency and need to leave earlier than expected, please don't just walk out, you must inform your volunteer coordinator. They'll make arrangements or adjustments as needed. As for your tasks, many of our volunteers say the most fulfilling part of community service here is helping visitors with computer skills. It's truly rewarding to see someone gain confidence navigating the digital world. Before you begin, however, we emphasize the importance of knowing our internal operations. So, the most crucial preparation you can do is to understand our library's policies and procedures. This ensures a smooth and safe experience for both you and our visitors.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
All new volunteers must attend a brief but essential orientation session. It's scheduled before your first official day of work and provides training on your duties and responsibilities. Please note that the library remains closed to volunteers every Thursday afternoon, mainly for internal reviews and cleaning, so plan your weekly hours accordingly. In terms of your time commitment, we appreciate all the help you can offer, but please remember, each volunteer is allowed to work a maximum of 8 hours per week. This helps us rotate opportunities fairly among everyone. If you're driving to the library, you'll be happy to know that free parking is available in the gravel lot located just behind the main building. Do use it. Parking on the main road is metered and monitored regularly. Lastly, to show our appreciation, all volunteers receive a small gift voucher at the end of each month. It's a token of thanks for your time and contribution. That's all for now. We look forward to working with you.
Section 3. You will hear part of a university lecture on ancient pottery and archaeological discoveries. First, look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
In today's seminar, we'll be examining the techniques used in ancient pottery, a subject often underestimated in its complexity. Many students are surprised to learn that these early methods were actually surprisingly advanced, particularly when you consider the limited tools available at the time. One crucial aspect was clay preparation. This wasn't something to be rushed. Potters knew that proper processing of clay was essential for quality, affecting both durability and design. Without meticulous attention here, even a skilled potter couldn't guarantee a successful product. Now, regarding firing techniques, we might assume early craftsmen were conservative in their approach. But archaeological evidence suggests quite the opposite. They were innovative, often experimenting with heat control and oxygen levels to achieve specific finishes. As for major milestones, it's tempting to credit the invention of the pottery wheel or glazing as the biggest breakthrough. However, most experts agree that the development of kilns had the most profound effect, as it allowed greater control over temperature and led to stronger, more complex pieces. Cultural influences can't be ignored either. When we look at decorative patterns, we see recurring themes, symbols, colors, and motifs that reflected their religious beliefs, not just artistic taste. Finally, one of the limitations modern archaeologists face in studying these artifacts is the incomplete historical records. We often have the objects but lack the written context, making interpretations more speculative than we'd like.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Let's now shift our focus to significant archaeological discoveries that reshaped our understanding of early human history. In 1922, a breakthrough came in Egypt when Howard Carter discovered the tomb of Tutankhamun, the pharaoh who ruled ancient Egypt during a transitional period. This find offered unmatched insight into burial rituals and royal life. Fast forward to 1974, when Johansen and Gray uncovered what would become one of the most famous fossil finds, the Lucy skeleton. They were exploring an area rich in prehistoric remains and came across ancient hominid fossils, which revealed much about early human locomotion. Then, in 1991, researchers studying a remarkably well-preserved body found in the Alps, known as Otzi, made another major contribution. They were able to reconstruct aspects of his lifestyle, including diet, clothing, and even probable cause of death. Lastly, in 2010, the team led by Lee Berger unearthed remains of a previously unknown hominid species. Remarkably, this group showed signs of using stone tools, which was unexpected at that stage of human development. The species was later named Homo naledi.
Section 4. You will hear part of a university lecture on environmental conservation. First, look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and complete the notes below.
Good morning, everyone. Today's discussion focuses on the theme of environmental conservation, a discipline that has gained significant attention in both academic and policy circles over the last few decades. At its core, conservation is about preserving biodiversity, that is, the immense variety of life forms found in ecosystems around the planet. This includes not only animals and plants, but also fungi, microorganisms, and the genetic diversity within each species. Now, the question arises, what exactly threatens biodiversity? While some natural events like volcanic eruptions or wildfires can temporarily disrupt ecosystems, the overwhelming majority of environmental degradation is caused by human activity. Activities such as intensive farming, industrial production, urban expansion, and deforestation contribute to climate change, species extinction, and soil erosion, among other problems. To combat these threats, we need solutions that are not only effective but also scalable. Let's begin with energy. The most discussed, and arguably the most promising, of all conservation strategies involves transitioning to renewable energy sources. Among these, solar energy stands out for its adaptability and declining cost. Solar panels can be installed on rooftops, used in solar farms, or even placed on water bodies as floating solar arrays. In fact, many developing countries are leapfrogging directly to solar infrastructure due to its affordability and ease of deployment. Besides solar, wind and hydroelectric power are also key players in the shift away from fossil fuels. Wind turbines, particularly in coastal or flat inland areas, generate electricity without emitting greenhouse gases. Meanwhile, hydroelectric dams, though sometimes controversial due to their impact on rivers and aquatic life, provide stable power and can be adapted for small or large-scale use. One immediate benefit of switching to renewables is the reduction in electricity demand from non-sustainable sources. Even installing a few solar panels at the household level can decrease grid dependency and lower emissions significantly. Let's now shift to the second pillar of conservation, waste management and reduction. Large cities, especially those with rapidly growing populations, need extensive recycling programs to prevent landfills from overflowing and polluting nearby environments. But recycling alone is not enough. We also need to focus on reducing waste at its source. For example, promoting composting in urban communities, especially through school gardens and neighborhood cooperatives, can transform food scraps into useful soil. These programs not only manage waste but also educate residents on sustainability. Another overlooked source of waste is product packaging. Items sold with excessive plastic or unnecessary wrapping often lead to long-term pollution problems, particularly in countries lacking proper disposal infrastructure. By simply choosing products with minimal or biodegradable packaging, consumers can have a real impact. Now, the third and final area I want to address is sustainable transport. Transportation is a major source of carbon emissions globally. And while electric vehicles are an exciting development, changing how we travel day to day is just as important. That means rethinking your commuting habits, walking, cycling, or taking public transit whenever possible. It not only reduces environmental harm but can also improve your health and save money. Lastly, let's talk about air travel. Many of us don't consider this, but frequent flying is one of the most significant contributors to individual carbon footprints. A single round-trip international flight can produce as much carbon as a car does in an entire year. Of course, some travel is necessary, but for meetings or events, it's worth considering alternatives like video conferencing or rail travel when available.
That is the end of the test.